Hey everybody, and welcome to Founder Friday. Today I'm excited to introduce Dragos Cada, a driven founder who built PathPeer. Dragos transitioned from a career in finance to technology after discovering his passion for mentorship and networking, and spent the last 2 years building PathPeer into a platform that's helping students and new grads land jobs. Dragos, thanks so much for joining.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Jacob. It's good to see you. It's been a while.
It has been a bit. Dragos, to kick things off, maybe we could start with your journey. Can you tell us a little bit more about where you are today and what inspired the creation of PathPeer?
Yeah, for sure. It's been a pretty chaotic, adventurous journey, honestly. So I started PathPeer in like maybe a year after university, um, because networking has been like a huge part of my career. So I used to work at the big banks like TD, Scotiabank, Ontario Teachers Pension Plan, and I got a lot of jobs through networking. So in about like second year, I had a really bad job, and I was really like fed up with how I was and like not being able to land the high finance jobs. So I realized I need to do networking. I need to hustle because I didn't have the grades, I didn't have the work experience. I needed to like actually put myself out there. So once I started doing it, I had dozens of coffee chats in a few months. And from those, I ended up landing referrals and I got a lot of insider information about different companies and about different teams. So through those, I landed interviews for sales and trading jobs at Scotiabank, TD, etc. And I didn't get them. I didn't want to do finance anymore. But at that point, I realized that networking was a huge impact on my life, and I was going to continue networking forever. So years later, once I was trying to figure out different startup ideas, I had a bunch of projects. I realized that a lot of students and new grads weren't networking, which for me was like it was a huge um, lost opportunity because it's so impactful. It can make a huge change in your career, not only to help you land the job that you want, but also to figure out your career, figure out your passion. So to me, when I found out they weren't networking, it was such a surprise. So I dug deep and I found out that people weren't networking because it's a black box. They don't know how to do it. No one really teaches them. And it's also nerve-wracking. It's like, how do you have coffee chats? What do you talk about? How do you ask for referrals? It was just a kind of a black box. And for the people who did know, it was very tedious because you have to reach out to professionals on LinkedIn through cold messages, and a lot of them don't respond. So I realized, why don't I make something, a platform that makes everything easy? So I created PathPeer, which is a marketplace where students and professionals can have coffee chats virtually. So the students goes on the platform, chooses a mentor, and right away they have a chat with them. So they can skip them reaching out to people on LinkedIn, and PathPeer provides a bunch of resources where that helps them have better coffee chats, like sample questions. So that's how I started. I was trying to figure out what the business model was. I wasn't really sure. I tried charging students, I tried charging professionals. I wasn't really liking either, even though people were paying. So I decided, why don't I charge companies? Because over time, the students were landing jobs through PathPeer. So a lot of people have landed jobs through PathPeer at companies like RBC, Wealthsimple, StackAdapt, and more. And people can see the testimonials on the website, pathpeer.com. So when when I found that people were landing jobs through it, um, I realized that the companies are also getting a lot of value from it, right? They're finding the very best talent. They're hiring the very best talent. Especially because I got reviews from the professionals on who the best talent was. So that's what I was trying to build. I started selling to companies. I was, selling to the big companies like Deloitte, KPMG, etc. And I was getting some traction, but a lot of companies were taking forever to really follow through, get approval. It takes like an 8-month approval process. They were a little bit reluctant, and it was very much a tough sell. I did make some money placing some interns here and there at startups, but my main goal, to charge companies a monthly fee, was very tough. So, um, over time, I realized, okay, I should probably do other things. I started hosting workshops at company offices. Those went really well. And over time, I started coaching people, a lot of my students from PathPeer. And through my coaching, I realized that I was like providing a lot of value because I was learning insider information from all the sales I was doing for the companies. So I was talking to campus recruiters all the time. I was trying to sell them. I was trying to learn how it works. And from those, I realized I have some really useful knowledge to help people land jobs.
Okay, great. And I love the networking points you brought up in the beginning. For everybody who's watching, actually, me and Dragos go way back, and through networking is actually the reason I'm sitting in front of you today with this podcast at Open Tools. Dragos actually introduced me to the current owner of Open Tools, where we connected in Spain, and after a couple long chats, a couple proposals, and a couple ideas of working together. I ended up joining the Open Tools team, and thankfully, due to Dragos, and I guess also thanks to PathPeer. So definitely, I can vouch towards the value that you can provide through that. Dragos, I would love to get to know a little bit more about what you're doing today, especially with the career coaching, as you mentioned, just a little bit more about how you do that and how you can provide value to people who are watching today, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm happy to share more about like my journey as well, a lot of mistakes and that I've done that a lot of founders do as well. I transitioned to career coaching just because it made a lot of sense to me and it's an easier business than what I was doing. Give me a sec. Yeah, so I transitioned because it was an easier business than what I was doing previously with PathPeer, the platform. The platform to sell to companies was very tough, was very innovative, and the problem is that with innovation, you need a lot of venture capital, like you need a lot of investment to go all the way. Because think of it as like Airbnb. You can't really start Airbnb without a lot of money initially. It's just very tough because you're changing people's behaviors. So this is relevant because with a platform, it's a high risk, high reward business, but it's also very tough, right? It's the high risk part. It's very tough to get started. I transitioned to career coaching because it's lower risk, it's more standardized. Like there's a lot more out there on how to do career coaching, how to make it, how to turn it into a business, and there's a huge demand. Anybody needs a job, and there's a lot of people who are struggling. So there's just a lot of people coming in and saying, "I'll pay you money to help me land a job." So I started career coaching. I basically created a program where I help people for an unlimited amount of time until they land the job that they want. So it's a flat fee, and then I just do everything with them from A to Z. Um, that includes like resumes, cover letters, and for me, I have like a very unique modern cover letter that almost no one uses, and that really makes a huge difference. So it's resumes, cover letters, networking, which is a big thing these days. If you're not networking, like you should 100% do it. Um, Networking, interviews as well. Even if you're not really confident, sorry, even if you're confident in interviews, a lot of people are still messing them up. Interviews are like very in depth. It's a mix of like psychology and social skills, and it's like there's like a little bit of game theory as well. Like it goes very in depth in terms of like interview skills that people don't realize it is there. So I also help with interviews, and then also once they start landing a lot more offers, I help them with negotiating salary as well, such that they make at least a few $1,000s more. And throughout all this, they have me on tech support. We have a one-on-one call at any point, and I help them optimize their applications. So if you think about it, like who has two minds working on the same application? It's a life, like it's a game changer, right? Like it's so much easier to stand out if you just have me actually optimize every single pixel, every single line for your application. So through my coaching, I go super in depth. A lot of times I change my coaching based on the client, what they need. Sometimes there's a little bit like self-improvement as well, how to be more productive. So that is about my coaching program, and I've helped people land jobs through those. And then I transitioned from that, and then I took a lot of the lessons from my coaching and put them in a course. So that's called job hunting with cheat codes because that's how I really think it is. So in the course, I took the general lessons that I would teach. Uh, it's not fully, I can't go super in depth, but it's about like 5 hours of videos on how to do your resume, cover letters, networking, and how to tailor each job application for each company. So we can talk about more about the course, like what's in there, but that's like what I do right now. It's the coaching in-depth program, and I also sell the course, which is more affordable, easier to get started, and helps people land jobs as well.
Great. And what I'll do is I'll also put a link just to the courses below so that you guys can check it out and take it from there. But Dragos, I was really interested in what you spoke about earlier about how your original idea with PathPeer was kind of the system disruptor. You know, it came in and kind of changed, and it was the idea to change how jobs and interviews, which I think everybody knows right now is a little bit of a broken system. And then you transitioned knowing the challenges that that faces. And while you're still working on that, you've transitioned taking a step back into something a little bit more traditional, a little bit easier, and helping people throughout that process that, again, right now is a little bit broken. Can you share a little bit more about your transition into that, taking a step back, maybe as a founder, and making sure that you're covering all your bases before you go for your big system changing goal?
Okay, let me talk about um, what I would do differently if I wanted to be a founder again, like starting from scratch. So the problem that all founders have, like first-time founders, entrepreneurs, is that they have like a vision and they're stuck on it, and everybody wants to go big because that's what is taught in the media, in the public. It's like always go big, go for the moonshot, all that stuff. And to me, that was exciting. Like I do want to do crazy things and achieve, like be very ambitious. The problem is you don't most people don't have the skills or the knowledge to go for the moonshots right away. A lot of the really successful people that are young, they started much earlier than you. All the like geniuses in the world, they start like at 13 years old, right? If you're just starting out, like this is your first time doing something, I would not recommend doing the crazy big ideas. First, prove to yourself that you can succeed at one lower risk business such that you get a stepping stone for the crazy idea. So for me, it would have been better to start with career coaching or do something in campus recruiting, well, maybe a job or maybe something simpler like a service for companies where I can make more money and gain experience for like a year or two. So usually a service business like career coaching is much easier than a tech business, right? The tech business should automate a service business, if that makes sense. So you start off, my point being is that if you want to do a business, start off with something more manual. So do some agency, something more that you can do like hands-on, one-on-one. Get that experience, and then build the platform, build your crazy ideas on that foundation. So it's like now I started with career coaching with one-on-one coaching, and now I'm automating my own work with an AI tool, right? I'm creating my own AI tools to automate my own work. Now, my next crazy idea from this basis point is to turn this AI tool into something that everybody can use without me. So that is a more scalable business idea. So my point was that like you start off simple, manual, and then your next idea comes from that foundation.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And right now, with your career coaching and helping people individually, I'm sure you can see the state of the job market and how brutal it is for some people. I've only, like, thankfully, I've been working at Open Tools thanks to you. But a lot of my friends who've been looking for jobs. Do you have any advice on the state of the job market currently, or for people who are looking for jobs?
Yeah, it's brutal out there these days. Yeah, it's really bad. Um, so the unemployment rate for new grads is the highest it's ever been in 2 decades. It's really tough. So For me, it took about 4 months after graduating to find a job, and I was pretty lucky. Like a lot of my friends were taking longer. These days, people are taking like 6 months plus, up to a year, even longer. So there's just less jobs, which means there are more applicants and more competition. People are still landing jobs, but the thing is you have to put a lot more effort these days. It's like, how do you stand out from like 1,000 people, right? On LinkedIn, it says 100 plus, but there's like a lot more than 100. So how do you stand out? Most of the time it's just based on effort and understanding how job hunting works, like what matters. Most people think that like, oh, I just need more experience, I need a certification, a boot camp, all this stuff. Not necessarily. You could have enough for it to land a job, but you're just not presenting it well. You're just not impressing them well. So let me tell you like what you can do. If you're job hunting right now, like let me tell you what you can do to stand out. First of all, your resume, almost everyone is like messing that up. You want to create a really easy to read format, maximize space, and make sure you have like all the key things. So if you're a new grad, put education at the top. Like describe a lot more than just your education. Okay. Obviously, I don't have time right now to go through in depth in the resume. That can go very, really in depth. I actually do have a free resume template that you can get at pathpeer.mykajabi.com/sign up. I'm sure like Jacob will put the link down, but it is a free template and like some cheat codes of that I shared on how to write a really good resume. But I think a lot of people who are really good at resumes and they have really strong bullet points like, the XYZ format, etc., they still mess up by forgetting to put impressive things that are very relevant to the job. So people forget that to put things either like a lot of times just because they don't think it's impressive. So that's why if you don't get a coach, you should be talking to professionals who have the job that you want and ask them, what am I missing? Right? Like do some brainstorming and try to figure out what am I missing on my resume? Not just how do I optimize it, but what am I missing? So the resume can go very in depth. There's a lot of areas of improvement. Even if you don't have the best experience, you can frame it in a way that is impressive. So one of my clients, he worked at Booster Juice, just a simple retail job. We went from like just a very basic, okay experience to like very impressive. We were like making bullets like increase sales by 115% by doing this. And it turned a really simple job into something more impressive than somebody with like a way better job. So my point being is that resumes presentation matters. It's all about how you frame things, how you order the bullets, how do you order the words such that it sounds impressive. The other thing is cover letters make a huge difference these days, huge. And that's because everyone is creating really bad cover letters. Everyone's doing AI generated cover letters, like super blocks of text, and it's very hard to read. Recruiters only spend 15 to 30 seconds per application. So they can't skim your cover letter if it's a huge block of text. And most cover letters are just a repeat of what your resume is. A lot of times it's basically bullshit, it's slop, and even if you're writing the cover letter, you kind of feel it. You're thinking to yourself, why am I doing this? It's so stupid. Like it's a formality, right? You don't need to do that. You don't need to write a traditional cover letter. You can write something unique, which is what I teach, where you tell them why you're the right fit for the role. So let me tell you, this one can go very in depth as well, but let me give you some few tips. You want to, first of all, talk very directly to them. Stop writing jargon and irrelevant things like, I am excited to meet you. Like, I'm excited to apply for this role. Obviously you're excited. Obviously you're excited because you're applying for the role. You don't need to add fluff. So delete all the fluff, delete all the lingo and all the jargon. Write like a human, write like you're speaking directly to a human. Make it short and start with your story. Why do you want to apply for this role and how does it fit in your career? How did you get to this point? Then make it about them. So talk about why you're interested in the role and in the company. And here is where you need to add very specific details. You want to add proof that you're actually interested in them. So not just saying, I like your values. You want to say, I like this specific value because of XYZ. You want to give them a real reason, proof. You can talk about which employees you've talked with from their company. You can talk about the research that you've done on their company, on their product. If you use their product, even better. And here you can go a lot more in depth. Okay. And then there's another section of getting them to understand why they should choose you. So the first section is about them. It's like, hey, I'm actually interested, which is very important. The second section is here's what makes me unique and different from everyone else. Because everyone has very similar cover letter. Everyone has very similar resumes. Even if you perfect it, it's like fairly similar. So why would they choose you if you have the same skills as everyone else? Here is where you can add things like being a digital nomad in Europe. There was a person who's like took care of a chicken coop, right? And how it taught them like some soft skills, things like that. Somebody like started a YouTube channel which shows a lot of good skills like initiative, especially if you have a few thousand subscribers. It shows entrepreneurship. Add things that no one else can say, and add the things that the job description really asks for you to share. It's like the key requirements, but aren't on your resume. Because sometimes you don't have the space on your resume, or it just doesn't make sense to talk about your YouTube channel on your resume. That's where you put on the cover letter. You want to write down the top 3 things that are very relevant to them, extremely relevant to them, but aren't on your resume. So I hope that helps. That's as much as I could go right now in terms of depth with a cover letter. Also use bullet points. You're welcome to. You don't need to add huge blocks of text, right? You can actually format it in a unique way such that you can stand out and they think, oh, what's this? I want to read it. So that was the second part. Cover letters are very important. If you do them the right way, it can make a huge difference. So for example, one person that took my course, she updated her resume and cover letter right away. She went from 0 interviews, so it was like 25 applications, 0 interviews, to 8 applications and 4 interviews. So right away, she got a 50% interview rate, and within 2 weeks, she was able to land a job at Deloitte, her dream job in accounting. So that testimony is on the course website. You guys can, take a few minutes, you guys can actually, listen to what she had to say. But from what she implemented, or what I teach, right away you see a huge difference if you do it the proper way. The last thing that I want to talk about is networking. Talked a little bit about it, but networking is a big differentiator these days because referrals can make a big difference. Since referrals think of them as like a mini interview. You get a free interview every time you have a coffee chat with a professional. Even though you're the one asking the questions, you're getting advice, you're getting help. Even though you're asking for them, they're getting to learn about you based on your questions and how you act in that coffee chat. It's like, if your questions are very in depth, they'll realize, okay, this person has a lot of knowledge. And if you have really good social skills and soft skills, they want to work with you, right? It's a free interview. So from that free interview, they're going to refer you, which means you're passing that and you're way more likely to get that HR interview in the next interview. So it can make a huge difference. Referrals make a huge difference, but the other part about networking that almost everyone forgets is that you're getting insider information that's very tailored to you. So you can ask professionals, hey, can you take a quick look at my resume and cover letter? What am I missing? Do I need to do something in the next few months so I can be ready to apply for your company? And what should I be doing? They'll tell you things you didn't even know to ask. So you might be thinking, oh, I need to do a certification. And you can tell them that. And they'll say, oh, no, don't waste your time there. That would have been a huge waste of time out of your job hunt. Don't do that. All you need to do is do this online course, 20 hours, boom, done. That's good enough. And then spend the rest of the time networking or doing something else. So that insider information is extremely valuable. It saves you a lot of time in job hunting. And it can, in the coffee chat, you can learn what the company really looks for because they don't always share everything online or in the job description. The employee will tell you, hey, this is what we look for, and this is how you should do your resume and cover letter. And here are the interview questions. Sometimes they tell you the exact interview questions. So that's like cheat codes. They tell you, here's like the test questions. And sometimes you can ask, how do I best answer them? So then they'll give you hints on how to answer them really well for that specific team and company. So networking is like going to an exam knowing what the questions and answers are going to be. That's the huge benefit of networking. And a lot of people have the question is like, how much should I network? As much as possible, dozens of coffee chats right away. And then you want to keep in touch with people over months, such that in the second or third chat with them, that becomes a referral. So there's a lot more. I know I went to like a huge rant of how to stand out in the job hunt. There's also things like you can send the emails directly to the company and provide value right away. Give them some sort of mini project. But yeah, there's a lot of depth to job hunting that most people don't realize. It's not just apply and pray. There are strategies, there are things that you don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know unless you've been in the industry for a very long time. And the best candidates, they're doing a lot more than the average. They're spending a lot of effort in strategizing rather than creating a resume and applying.
Amazing.
So yeah, I hope that was helpful.
No, super helpful. And if you can think about how much value you just provided us within a couple of minutes, you can think about how much value is inside of your course and also your career coaching.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll link all that below, especially what you're talking about. Um, Okay, well, that's amazing. I think that's some great advice. And I guess to kind of wrap up here, there's some questions that we ask every person on Founder Fridays. Some entrepreneur questions. So, is there one tool that you're using right now while building that you think you couldn't live without?
Couldn't live without.
Yeah.
There's so many tools now. So Gemini, like Google Gemini, is way better than ChatGPT. Yeah,
Okay.
way better. Like than O3. So I have both the premium versions, and Gemini is so much better. Um, Especially because it follows instructions to the T. If you know how to like prompt really well and provide like specific examples, it's really powerful.
Okay.
Let me think of what other things I use. I mean, personally, I just think that, self-improvement and business kind of interchange, right? And I've been big into self-improvement. And I think the two biggest apps that I use a lot are Obsidian, which is a note-taking app. That's like for more technical. If you're technical, it's way better than Notion. I won't get too in depth right there, but it's really powerful. You can customize it like crazy. So that note-taking apps are very important just because you want to write a lot. Writing is thinking, and the easier it is for you to write, the more ideas you get, and the more you can develop the ideas and the programs and whatever. But the other thing is Readwise and Readwise Reader are really powerful. And this is like basically two apps that are interconnected. Readwise Reader is a reading app where you can add books, add blog posts, YouTube videos, and it's probably the best digital experience for reading. There's like an AI that you can talk with for your reading. There's highlighting, uh, like text to speech is super nice these days with AI voices. It's just incredibly nice. So that will get you reading a lot more. And that connects with Readwise, which it takes your highlights from your blog, whatever you're reading. So there's something that really resonates with you, you highlight it, and it resurfaces the highlights over time. So every day you go on Readwise and you have kind of like flashcards, like Anki, and you read highlights or self-reminders over time such that what you're learning really gets ingrained and you don't forget the most important lessons. So every time I mess something up or I get a really good insight just randomly for myself, I write a self reminder. And that self reminder will come back in a day, then in a week, then in a month, then in a year. And I am sure that I won't forget this lesson. I think in general, the more infrastructure you build for your business or life, the more you can do. So I don't try to remember things. I always use Google Calendar. I put things where they need to be such that I can find them again easily. And for everything, every single thing that I do, I have a system such that I can take it out of my head, whatever I'm doing, and I trust the system that it will take care of everything. So reminders is always the big thing. I don't remember anything. I have the worst memory, right? But I'll get a reminder every day saying that, oh, do this. Like you have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go, right? And that actually another one, if I could, another one that's related is clay.earth, which is a networking tool where you can keep notes on people to keep in touch with them. So you can set reminders, you can write down where you met them and what you talked about, such that you can be more intentional with the people, with the relationships you want to build personally or professionally. So for example, people I haven't seen in a while, I set like a yearly reminder. I should reach out to them every year. Or if I want to get closer, it's like reach out to every 3 months. And that way, if you're just always on top of people's minds, you're going to get a lot more luck coming to you, a lot more opportunities coming to you. Because everyone will think of you, oh, Dragos is the career coach. I have a friend who just got laid off. Let me send him to Dragos' way. So yeah, clay.earth is a very nice way to be thoughtful and build relationships, and which creates a lot of serendipity in your life.
Nice. I'll be checking out Clay.Earth because I love a good relationship CRM, and I think I need one right now to help me
Yeah.
catch up. And then I guess my last question for you is just regarding being a founder, a business leader. Is there any rituals that you have, maybe that you do daily, to make sure that you stay focused on top of everything?
Yeah, I have a lot, and I'm trying to build a system over time. It takes time to like build your own routine. I'm not very routine based, where I'm like I'm not strict to certain times, but I do the same things every day. So I wake up, go for a walk in the morning, 10 minutes, resets your circadian rhythm, gets you feeling much better. Then I eat a super healthy breakfast. Every day I eat the same thing. So like almost basically the same thing. And it's all like nutrients based. So in the morning, it's my oatmeal with like chocolate and hemp seeds and chia seeds, all the healthy things. So a diet is huge. Just a really nice diet is really good. And so I eat the same thing every day. Then I meditate in the morning just because I have more energy. Meditation has also been really valuable for me. Keeps you more present, more grounded, and it actually makes you more productive. 20 minutes just makes you more productive the entire day. And then in terms of how I work, I try to prioritize in the morning of what I want to do during the day because you want to be very adaptable. Like I don't like planning too far in the future. I want to think, okay, what's my number one task I need to do today? And I try to work on that task like basically right away. So I usually let my systems like tell me what I need to do usually with like calendar and things like that. And in terms of how I work, I try to work in bursts. That's also really useful. I time myself of how much I work and I keep track every day. It's like I worked X amount of hours today, and then such that I can improve it over time. So what gets measured gets improved. So I measure my hours, try to talk about, I reflect a little bit at the end of the day, saying like, here's what I accomplished, here's how I felt like health wise, and sometimes like, here's what I want to do tomorrow, the number one thing I want to do tomorrow. I try to work in bursts. It's like I focus really hard for like an hour and a half and then I take a break. Throughout the day, yeah, I just try to keep not get distracted. I don't open on my phone. I have all my social medias like either deleted from my phone or the feed is off. So, for example, I have this tool in my browser called Undistracted. It's a browser extension where it ties the feed and the recommendations for all the social medias. So like on LinkedIn, I use LinkedIn a lot, uh, and I don't see people's posts. It's just like a blank front page. but I still use LinkedIn. I need to use it, but I don't see anyone's posts. So I do that for everything. YouTube, no recommendations, no comments. It's just like a search box and a video I want to search, and that's it. So you want to protect yourself from all the external things, all the distractions that are pulling your attention. And also another good one for your phone is getting Beeper. It's a messaging app where you can connect with your Instagram and all these things, such that you can message people without opening up Instagram or your other social media. So there's a lot. You see, I don't know how much detail you want here, but I'm getting exactly like you over time you build things up. So another big thing that helps me a lot is grayscale on your phone. The first week it's brutal, but then by the end, you get used to it and everything's black and white. So you don't have the urge anymore to like go on your phone because everything's a little bit more boring and everything's more like you care about the information rather than the entertainment, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's pretty much it in like terms of productivity. I have a lot. Yeah, if anybody wants more resources, I have a bunch of startup resources. Just message me on LinkedIn, Dragos Cada. Yeah, I just have a lot of things I've gathered over time. And then at night, which is also very important, I work out. And yeah, that's very valuable. I do a sauna sometimes. And then when I get home, I watch a little bit of Love Island. You have to. Uh, it's the best show to ever exist. Yeah, just to chill. And then afterwards, I have an hour wind down of where I read in bed with like very low lighting, such that like I'm ready to go to bed. And I also reflect as well. Yeah, so reflecting also like helps you de-stress and helps you come up with a lot of ideas and develop those ideas. So yeah, I go to bed at the same time, and then the next morning I do the same thing, and you go again and again and again. And the more a little more like strict you are with your routine, the more you can build upon. Because now my routine is very mindless. I don't. If somebody starts from scratch, it's very hard to do all this. But if you like build it over time, you're building that infrastructure for your life that lets you do a lot more and be a lot more productive in whatever you want to do.
Awesome. Okay, amazing. I feel like that was the most useful we've ever gotten in terms of tips from founders. So thank you very much. What I'll do is also just link your LinkedIn down below so people can connect with you regarding any questions they might have regarding that and regarding your coaching and also PathPeer. Dragos, I can't thank you enough for taking the time today to meet with me and just to discuss your story and everything. I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Jacob. Yeah, thanks for having me. Really good questions. And yeah, hope you have a good one too. Take care.